Okay guys, so we're at the park. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing through its paces, see how it does. Got our cell phone up here for our Wi-Fi FPV, and gonna go ahead and plug this thing in and get it connected. So let's go fly this thing, see how it does. Ooh, nice and smooth, nice and level. Okay, so we're in the rate 1, real docile. And let's see what some of these buttons do. Right trigger, there's our flipping. Okay, so we can see on the screen of the TX that we have our different flight rates here. Left 3 buttons are 40%, 60%, 80%, and 100% flight rates. It looks like the yaw is staying the same throughout, but our pitch and our roll is getting a lot better pitch and roll for a higher rate of speed. Let's go ahead and do a flight test. I mean a range test. See how far we can get with the FPV and the control. Going out there, I'm about 100 feet now. Not bad. Wow. Okay, I was out to about 150 feet and still had control. I'm not gonna go, whoop. Okay, we had a drop. So I was at about 150 feet and coming on back, and then it kind of dropped, probably because of the pitch. The antenna got skewed or something, but that's pretty good. And the FPV was also in pretty smooth control, pretty smooth as well. So let's go ahead and relaunch and try some other maneuvers. Wow, really good lift. Control is smooth, precise, decent lift actually for having this complete FPV setup. There's the bottom right button here, holding in, and that was bringing in us in headless. Looks like the headless is completely skewed, but probably from my relaunch over at the other end of the field. Let's go ahead and try a return to home real quick and see if that does anything. So I'm holding in the right middle button. Yeah, so return to home works. It just thinks that its home is all the way there to the left. So real quick before the battery dies, I'm gonna go ahead and restart this thing. Wow, real smooth flyer. And let's go ahead and try that return to home and headless again. Okay, so launch directly from that position, holding in the middle. Okay, good. So return to home does work. It's coming back in our general bearing. Didn't do any spinning, but turn to home works. Let's try headless. Bottom holding in. So we're in headless. And let's see how this thing works. So I'm doing our yaw, forward, back, left, right. So yeah, headless is working. Really good. Let's go back up to 100% rate. Okay, good, yeah. So since I relaunched, the headless is working good. And let's turn that headless off by holding in the bottom button again. Okay, cool. I still see no flashing on the lights, so that's great. This thing looks like it has some good flight time, even with the FPV on it. And you know, I'm going out about 50 feet and the FPV is not choppy. 75 feet, still in control, and the FPV is very good. So this FPV system on this seems to be very good, as well as the control distance, very good. Let's go ahead and do some close-up shots of this before the battery runs out. Still no low-level blinking lights. Wow, impressive little craft. Oh, okay, so you could see that when it did kind of catch an edge. It did want to flip. I am in 100% rate. So that kind of stuff's going to happen eventually, sometimes. Pretty speedy little flyer for an FPV type of mini. This thing is super stable and still no low level battery flashing. That's amazing. This looks like it might be a micro nano size to get right here. Long flight time, good range, good FPV range, very stable, and everything seems to work very well. Okay, so there we are. There's our low level drop there, and I'm going to stop the video, pressing that button there. And so what we'll do is we'll go in the house, do some house flying, and really kind of get some battery times, some flight times, and do some other tests in the house, like some controller cutoff and some other stuff. And then we'll get back to the bench and do kind of a final pros and cons. And it looks like this one's going to be a good one from what I've seen so far in this park flight. Okay guys, so we're in the house with the Wltoys Q242 Wi-Fi version. So we're just popping in that battery, turning it on. Do a house flight, see how it does. So there's our FPV working perfectly. Let's go ahead and start a recording in the house and turning on. I'm ready to go. Accelerometer, calibration, both sticks to the bottom left. Hold it there, you're going to see this flashing on the craft. So the accelerometer should be recalibrated. Make sure it's just on a really level surface when you do that. So we're launching directly away from us so we can test our heading modes. Let's see how it does. I was really impressed with this thing in the park. So let's see how it does in no wind in the house. It's hovering pretty good. Let's see what our lift is with a fresh battery. So hover to full lift, full throttle. Good. Not bad at all. Not the best, but it does have a full FPV and camera built in. And let's see what we're at. So we're at the lowest rate here, 40%. And let's see what our yaw is. Yawing. Let's go ahead and go up to 60, 80. So if I remember correctly, this one looks like it has all the same yaw rates, no matter which rate you're in. But the pitch and roll will get higher. So we've got rate 1, roll, and pitch. Let's see, 60%. Roll and pitch, a little more. 80%, even more. A little bit faster flying. And 100%, even more. So this is the maximum pitch and roll rate. Okay, and lights, I mean, they're sufficient, but you know, night flying, not going to be the easiest to tell orientation because you only have 2 little lights on the bottom here, but good enough, I guess, since you can see them from eye level as well as above. So not too bad. It might only be hard if it's kind of below you and you're pitching back. They'll kind of be hard to see. But so far so good. The FPV looks great. And I'm not seeing any like choppiness in the FPV, which is good. And let's see. So right trigger is going to be our flipping. Flips as expected. So we launch from this direction. Let's go ahead and try our heading modes. So pushing and holding the bottom right button brings us in. Okay. So that brings us in headless mode. It looked like it was a little bit skewed actually. Let's try that again. Okay, yeah, so it is skewed. Unfortunately, it seems like it's backwards now. So that's too bad. At the park it was performing pretty good, I think, but in the house, maybe there's some interference in here. Anyway, if you did want to turn off the lights, you just hit this button here, this with the light symbol on the stream, and you can turn off the lights, turn them on for night flying, off for day flying, save some power. Holding in the light button will do a return to home, and in this case it is very skewed. We can see that it's going to try to go to that back right corner away from me. So it thinks home is way over there somewhere, unfortunately. Just a little bit of a close-up here in the house. Go up there near the wireless router, see if it loses any connection or does any stuttering. So really impressed with this FPV setup. It has a minimal delay. It's nice and bright. We can see how bright the FPV is here, even in the house, this dark house right now. I don't have any lights on really, and it's sunset, and the video looks pretty good. Minimal delay time. Color's really nice, so that's good. So I'm just going to fly this thing around until I run out of power. Do some figure eights. So this is 100% flight mode, and it seems to be really responsive and real easy to control. So I'm really liking this thing. You can see how tight, how precise I'm flying in this living room here. Oh, looks like we lost the prop. That was a good little crash test. Let's see if we have any damage after we try to fly it again. So we did have a prop fly off, but nothing we can't just push back on. They all look to be pretty good. This one got bent just a little bit. Bent that one back a little bit. And let's just go ahead and fly until we... Whoa. Okay, bent two props. So we can see this prop 2 is bent down a little bit. So we should be able to just bend that up. And it should be flying a-okay. Yeah. Okay, while we're at it, let's just try a little hover test. So there we are with no control. It's dropping a little bit, but that's to be expected since the battery is getting low now. But after that crash and 2 bent props, not bad. Drifting a little forward. Oh, okay, so there's our, whoa, there's our low voltage lights blinking. And it just cut off. Okay, so it already cut off. It's low voltage cut off, but impressive. I was impressed with this at the park, and impressed again at home. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording here, pressing that button. And hopefully that saved our recording. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and take this thing back to the bench. Get some flight timings, precise flight timings, and also do our final pros and cons on how this thing did, and see how it does. All right. Okay, guys, welcome back. So here we are back on the bench with the Wltoys Q242-K version, the Wi-Fi version where you can hook up your cell phone. And this is just kind of a final wrap up on this little guy. Just going to go over some pros and cons now and just kind of wrap this review up for you. So basically, I'm pretty impressed with this one. Overall, I think it did really well. First of all, it did have 4 rates of flights, kind of like all the Wltoys crafts do. They have 40, 60, 80, and 100% flight rates. So this one was no different for the pitch and the roll. But when it comes to the yaw rate, it only had 1 rate. It was a good rate, but I kind of wish the Wltoys would kind of give us a few more options as far as yaw rates go. since they have four rates of pitch and roll, it just seems like they should have a couple more rates of the yaw. This quadcopter is really stable. I was surprised at how stable this thing. It really flies well. The props are fairly large. You can see how big they are, but they do a really good job, and they are a little bit flexy. So I guess the combination they have here of the weight, the ergonomics, maybe it's also because you see how the arms are a little bit elongated up and down, but they're a little thinner this way. It just makes it handle really well as far as smooth rate of flight. Only problem is maybe in the highest rate, 100%, when you are turning really hard, it might catch the edge and wobble just a little bit. The orientation was good when you're close up. It has these two red lights that come on in the back. I really wish they would have maybe had a different color in the front, like maybe white or something. This is just a screw here, but if they would have done the same thing they did in the back to the front and made them white or blue or some different color like green, really would have been better for night flying. I do like how they have two different color props in the front and back to help you with daytime orientation. The lift was really good, exceptional lift. For how bulky this thing looks and feels, this thing really did really well. It's got that kind of proprietary little interesting battery phantom style push-in battery encasing, which looks bulky, but it really worked well, especially when we come down to the flight times and the ranges on this thing. As far as the range goes, 150 feet for this guy is really good. That's kind of above average for what I've tested on these little micros. So I think that's very reasonable, 150 feet. And with the Wi-Fi FPV with your phone, the Wi-Fi was completely acceptable. There was no choppiness, and for the entire control range, the Wi-Fi was nice and clear and clean and smooth. So really commendable for them being able to pull all that off with a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi type of quad here. And as far as the flight times go, we're looking at 6 minutes and 15 seconds until the red light started to blink for our low voltage warning. And then a little bit of a con, they only give about 5 seconds until it starts to go into its forced automatic landing. So like 6 minutes and 20 seconds, and then it just landed 5 seconds after that low voltage blink. So a little bit of a con there. It's nice to have maybe like 30 seconds or so, but these things are so small, you're probably going to be flying around yourself anyway, so it's not that big of a deal, unless that happens like when you're high up and you're over the road or concrete or something and it comes down and hits kind of hard. But I do like the design. I do like how they got a pretty robust design here, all encompassing. It looks really sturdy. It was sturdy. I did a few crashes in the house. And of course nothing's going to break here. Props are very durable and flexy, and I think this one's going to be a really good buy. I'm really impressed with this one from Wltoys. Now that I've flown it and got really a feel for it, I think that it will be a good product and a good purchase for anybody that's interested. But anyway guys, this one will have the links down in the description down there, so if you are interested in this guy, go ahead and click the link down there on where to buy this from. Anyway, I do a lot of reviews like this, and I hope you guys can check out my channel with my other videos, modifications, reviews, test flights, aerial video, all kinds of stuff. And I also have some RC vehicles and action cams in there under review as well. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.